Pittsburgh's Bowling Best is brought to you by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. By Buyer's Mart. Nobody sells more. Nobody sells for less. By Eaton Park, where there's always something special cooking. And by Prego Spaghetti Sauce. It's in there.
Welcome to Week 4 of Pittsburgh's Bowling Best, everyone. We are coming to you from the Pittsburgh Bowling Proprietors TV complex in McKees Rocks. And hello again, I'm Sam Nover. We have had a most interesting phenomenon over the first 3 weeks of our competition, and that is that the number one qualifier has won all 3 weeks. Why, you ask? I'm going to turn to my expert analyst, the bowling writer for the Post-Gazette, Dan Gluss. Dan, how come? Is it that difficult to come from number 4, position number 3, and win this thing?
Well, the lanes constantly change. The bowler on the 4 position has to keep adjusting. Where the bowler on 1 position, he has to shoot 1 game. Robb Sheridan is on a hot spot today. If he don't do it, they're going to ask him why.
One other phenomenon of our bowling competition thus far has been the fact that we have run the gamut of scores. We've had good scores in the 220s and 230s. We've also had, unfortunately, 144, 153. Why the great disparity, Dan?
Some people have ice water in their veins, like a Sam Nover.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're watching, you're doing all your thing. These guys couldn't even pronounce their name before the show. They're nervous. That's about it.
We'll see if they're ready to bowl, however. We will have our first match of the day coming up on Pittsburgh's Bowling Best in just a minute. Stay with us. Okay, let's meet the bowlers in our first match of the day, and as we have indicated in our competition all along, it's a stepladder effect. Mark Everette, who qualified 4th for the competition today, and you see right there he's paired against Robert Darnley Jr. of Wheeling, West Virginia. Let's take a look at Mark first of all. 31 years old, Hopewell Township, a native there. In fact, went to school with Tony Dorsett. Take a look at his move down the approach there, Danny.
5 small steps, very small for a big guy, 6 foot. Holds the ball waist high, but when he comes through the extension, he's powerful.
Okay, Robert Darnley Jr., 22 years old from Wheeling, West Virginia. Both his mother and father here in attendance today. And you couldn't ask for styles that are more diametrically opposed in one respect anyway. Let's take a look at Robert moving down the approach.
He starts at the end of the approach for a long step. Watch the stretch out at the foul line. And I'll tell you, he has problem keeping timing with that because he takes a full 16 feet. Should be interesting, Sam.
Power bowler. Mark Everette to begin on lane number 3. Nice to have you with us on this Saturday afternoon, week number 4 of Pittsburgh's Bowling Best. We're going to find out by hook or by crook who's the best in the area. And then we're going to find out if they can beat a Mark Roth or a Marshall Holman or somebody like that. Toughest throw of the day. The first one out of the break. Got them all. Good mix by Everette.
Watch this young man coming up now with his 4-step taking a full approach. He really got to stretch out at the foul line.
Robert's qualifying average was 222. Graduate of Wheeling Park High School. Been bowling since he was 9 years old. That's 13 years. Here a little bit high. Leaves a picket fence there. Like so many, excuse me, Danny, like so many bowlers that we've had in the competition, Robert has 2 balls, one to use just for spares and one for the first throw.
Well, the spare ball is harder, surface ball. It doesn't hook as much as the first ball.
Ooh.
Now, sometimes you outsmart yourself.
Pick the 3 off the 3-6-10. So Robert Darnley opens in the first frame. Each of the bowlers that you will see on today's competition and throughout the entire event have gone through a grueling elimination roll-off. Darnley on lane 3, wastes no time, almost put in the channel and brought it back for the strike. Nice ball. Nearly 300 of the area's best bowlers went into the qualifying tournament to try to capture one of the 20 spots on our show. And if you think you're one of Pittsburgh's bowling best, you still have a chance to qualify. One more elimination roll-off in the upcoming weeks, and you can get more information about joining Pittsburgh's bowling best by checking with your local bowling center. Mark Everette, who struck in the first. First time on lane 4, goes way, way over the Brooklyn.
That time he pulled a shot. He got a little ahead of himself. The first step, if you take a fast first step in his delivery, it's dynamite. You couldn't see the first step, but watch his arm. He pulled it across his body. His elbow went out to the side, and he pulled the ball across the head pin. He's going to be thinking about that on his next pitch.
So the 3-pin stands in his way of having a couple of marks to get it started. No pun intended for Mark Everett. And he covers. Excuse me.
His game is very critical, Sam. When he takes that small first step, he's got to be there because he's only taken about 14 feet of the approach, where his opponent is taking a full approach. So it's quite a contrast in styles, as you said before.
I've also noticed over the weeks of the competition, lane 4 has been enormously difficult for some of these bowlers to master. Everett back on 3 where he got the strike, and he's very comfortable there, isn't he? So early on, Mark Everett into a 12-pin lead over Robert Darnley, and we'll get a chance to see the footwork here, Dan.
Very small steps. Watch the long extension. It's amazing. He's like poetry in motion to watch a big guy like that. It's like dancing, you know.
Tiptoe up the
That's
approach. Here's Darnley in the 3rd, working on a strike. Power bowler. Almost in the channel, brought it back. Got a kick and moved out the 10-pin.
We call that a scout pin. It went out hunting for more pins and something else. Just watch that pin come off the wall and go back over and get the 10-pin. He really ripped it apart. The pin come all the way across. You can't say anything. Picture speaks for itself.
Ball really moves in the last 8 to 10 feet.
That's it. But watch him. His last foot. He's right there. It's so important.
Got it again. So he's on a roll. Robert Darnley Jr. now with 3 in a row. And a reminder, these bowlers are indeed bowling for cash prizes. Loser of our first match today receives a $60 cash prize. Loser of the second match wins $75. A loser of the third and final match, $90. The winner, of course, getting $100 and the right to advance in the tournament. With over $13,000 at stake, one individual could win as much as $3,000 in the competition. Everett looking to double.
Both times in that lane, he pulled the ball across his body. He's got to make a drastic adjustment. Not a 1 or 2 board. You've got to make a drastic adjustment. Watch his elbow to point of release. His elbow swings out to the side. It's not a straight. Right there it breaks. And now his arm comes across.
He's been out of the pocket twice now on lane 4. Been solid in the pocket on lane 3 twice, and he covers again. So Robert Darnley has the 8-pin advantage now, working on a 3-bagger, and Mark will try to cut into that. Mark is a graduate of community college in Beaver County, and as I mentioned at the outset of our broadcast, went to Hopewell High School with Tony Dorsett. He is currently a supervisor for a Pittsburgh food broker. Gets the strike again in the 3rd frame.
Sam, I think there's something to this. On lane 4, you have the rack.
We'll be back in a minute. We'll talk more about that after we take a short break. We'll be back with more of Pittsburgh's Bowling Best after this. Welcome back to Pittsburgh's Bowling Best. We pick up the action now in match 1 with Robert Darnley of Wheeling, West Virginia, facing a stiff challenge from Aliquippa's Mark Everett. Everett working on a triple. Darnley needs to answer that challenge as he steps up to bowl now in the 7th frame.
Shot.
Here comes Darnley, wasting no time from the channel. Oh, boy.
I thought that was heading for the channel that time.
Thing broke 3 feet in the last 8 feet, it seemed to me.
It's the it's the urethane ball that breaks so hard on the end. The ball was almost off the lane and it come back. It's amazing, I think.
That is incredible, Dan.
Unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. So Darnley is down here by 28. Needs the conversion for sure and makes it. And he's bowled fairly well, but now finds himself down by 28 pins. With Everett working on the 3-bagger.
When Mark Everett gets up on the right-hand lane, I think he's shying away from the rack. Some bowlers have a tendency to do that. Now on lane 3, he's wide open on the right-hand side, so he has an easier shot for himself.
Darnley in the 8th, working on a spare. Well, he struck on 3 the last 4 times he's been on that lane. So 3 does not seem to have been much of a problem to these 2 bowlers, not a mystery at all. 4 has created all sorts of problems over the first 3 weeks plus this match, Danny.
That's right. Let's see if he makes his adjustment now. Billy Whaley used to say, a professional bowler, trust is a must or your game is a bust. You've got to give it room.
Balding Billy Whaley.
That's
I remember him. Out of St. Louis.
He did it again.
He's over on the Brooklyn side, and again he carries them all. Well, he's getting all of his breaks in this game, you can rest assured.
Some people say they'd rather be lucky than good.
I know you're one of them.
Yep.
Well, he has been the beneficiary of some good fortune, but if he is to advance in this tournament, he's going to have to master 4 a lot better than that, Danny. He's not been on the pocket side of the head pin yet on that lane. Looking for his 5th in a row. He's been there every time on this lane, and this time he leaves the 4-7. A little bit too high. And you're looking at his lovely wife, Linda, who is here with the Everette clan out of Hopewell, Pennsylvania. So far enjoying the festivities. See whether it lasts or not. TV lights, cameras are bad enough, but your wife's sitting there right in your hip pocket, right? Nice spare, Mark.
Okay, Darnley has to strike in the 9th frame here. If he doesn't strike in the 9th frame, it's Katie bar the door.
36 pins now, the advantage of Mark Everette over Robert Darnley Jr. He's got his work cut out for him. We step into the 10th. Our Eaton Park, no, it's for Darnley, it's still the 9th.
Still the 9th, right.
The Eaton Park frame just around the corner. Tell you about it after this. Come on, Robert. Attaboy.
Oh, took the 4.
Now we're in the 10th frame. The Eaton Park 10th. Any bowler who finishes up the 10th frame with 3 strikes wins a $50 gift certificate, good at any Eaton Park restaurant. And in addition, Eaton Park will also donate another $50 to the United Way charity of the bowler's choice. So we're rooting for both of them here to strike out in the 10th. Of course, if that happens, it won't do much good for Robert Darnley as far as the match is concerned. His first ball in the 10th. Right there. Oh, a little heavy. Well, that about seals his fate in every regard, doesn't it, Dan?
Yes, it does. Match is over right now.
Yeah.
Always Mark Everette has to shoot for now is the Eaton Park frame.
199 is the best that Robert can do.
Well, he can't even do that now.
If he picks up the spare and converts, which he won't do when he takes an 8 count. So Everette has won this match and will stay with Mark just long enough for him to compete in the Eaton Park 10th frame and see whether or not he can string 3 strikes together. But he has won the first match, so the 4th qualifier, Mark Everette has defeated Robert Darnley Jr., the number 3 qualifier. Mark now to meet Michael Belajac, but will hang in here. Looking for the 3-bagger. Bowled 6 strikes already in this game. On the Brooklyn side again for his 7th. Maybe he'll make me eat my words about having to get on the right side of the head pin.
Maybe he's playing it like that. I know some guys that do that.
He's laughing his way through this. He knows that's not where he belongs.
That's right.
And his wife is enjoying it too. Now they're having a little verbal exchange. 7 strikes in the game for Mark. 3 of them he's carried on the Brooklyn side on lane 4. The other 4 he has earned with beautiful throws right in the pocket. Second ball in the 10th. No, that's it. But a nice effort as far as the Eaton Park 10th frame is concerned. Mark Everette will advance, and we'll be back with that next match right after this. Stay with us. And welcome back to Pittsburgh's Bowling Best. Our first match of the day has been won by Mark Everette, 228 to 185 over Robert Darnley Jr. And we move now to the second match, and as you see the stepladder effect, here is the next man standing between Mr. Everette and the top of the ladder, Michael Belajac, 28 years old, out of Bridgeville, went to Keystone Oaks High School in Dormont, and here he is down the approach.
Mike has a 5-step delivery, cups his wrist quite a bit. You'll have to watch him on a replay, but he gets a ball down in a hurry, but he got a dynamic backswing. Just watch it.
And as we have said throughout all of the weeks of the competition, this may be the most difficult throw. Out of a rather long break, First throw for him. Got a good mix and got the strike. So Belajac gets started the same way Mark Everette did on lane 3 with a strike in Everett's match against Darnley Jr.
Now Mark Everette had trouble on this lane. On lane 4, I can't believe that he's going to let Mark finish on his good lane. It's, you just can't understand that. Interesting?
Yes, this strategy confuses me a bit. It's to get out and attack lane 4. He got that one in the pocket. Well, he struck 7 times in the first game, and 3 of them over on lane 4, and never put the ball near the pocket.
Right. Come out of the chute with a beautiful shot.
We talked to him very briefly here between matches, and I said to him, boy, that lane 4 has played havoc, reaped havoc with a lot of people. He said, it wasn't the lane so much, it was me. It's just me. I got to get my act together. So he seems to think he can take care of it. We'll find out. Now the lane that he mastered in the first match. Not even close.
We didn't change numbers on the lanes, did we?
I don't think he got near the line. I just don't think I think he dropped the ball almost behind the line.
He was so confident that now he got his bad lane. He went over to his good lane and forgot what he was doing.
Yeah.
I like his bowling quirk. Did you notice his bowling quirk?
I didn't really.
He had a 300 game wearing his shirt and he's still wearing it.
Is that right? If somebody washes it between usages. Oh, and a good spare. There's a real pro for you. So after a horrendous first ball, Mark Everette comes back to convert the spare. No damage. And Belajac steps up on lane 4 for the first time. Our tournament, of course, leading up to the big conclusion. The bowler who's crowned Pittsburgh's bowling best gets a chance to bowl against a top professional bowler. And the winner of that match wins $2,000 cash. Brooklyn. Have you ever, in all the years you've been following this sport, Dan Gluss, come across a bowler who almost prefers to play the Brooklyn side, whether he be left or right-hander?
Well, I don't think they prefer to play the Brooklyn side, but some guys do. If they're carrying Brooklyn, they don't want to change anything. It just might be that particular night, their body rhythm is the same, and they keep playing it.
You know, to be perfectly honest with you, I find that I get a better hit on the Brooklyn side than I do in the pocket. Maybe just the ball I deliver.
But you're a left-hander.
I am a left-hander, that's right. That's right. They explode more. It's more dramatic when they go Brooklyn. Mixed that one up and left the 7. Some of the delayed applause you hear when a pin is still left, some people don't have a good angle on the 7 pin from the seating locations in our crowd, and it looks like they all went down, but the 7 in this case stood. Michael, who's a driver for the Triangle News, misses the 7.
How many times have we seen that?
A ton.
Changing balls, he changed the ball that time to go straighter, and he didn't compensate for it.
Too many times. Well, that's a look at his family. His wife, Linda, his young niece, and his brother-in-law all seated in the first row and not real happy about what Michael just did as he opened in the 3rd frame. 12 pins the lead now for Mark Everette as he steps up on lane 4. Got a good mix and could not carry them all.
Watch the trajectory of that ball. He's out around the 6th board. He comes in awful light on the head pin. He doesn't get the kick on the 5 pin. If we wanted to go over, just look at the stare of that. Those eyes just like they're burning and hole in the pins.
Was lucky to get the 7 to kick out. So Mark Everette converts the 5 pin and moves now onto frame 4 with an 11-pin advantage over Mike Belajac.
Now this was his favorite lane in the first game. Let's see if he's going to come back to it.
His favorite bowler is Mark Roth, and he bowls very much unlike Mark Roth, who is a power bowler. You'll see somebody later on in the competition here.
Robb Sheridan bowls like Mark Roth.
Who looks exactly like Roth. And Robbie gets up there. It's like he patterned his entire style after him. This is Everette now in the 4th frame. And he got it in there, and this time could not get the 4 pin to budge.
He took extra time on that. He knew he made a bad pitch the last frame on that, so he took extra time, and that's what happens.
Good look at him going down the approach.
Just watch the reaction when the 4-pin don't go. I think you expend more energy at the foul line going through the gyrations as you do when you throw the ball.
So strikes have been few and far between for Mark Everette, who opened with a strike and now has 3 consecutive spares. And his lead is still about 10 pins. It is 10 pins over Belajac.
You know, speaking of expressions on gyrations, last week, Sam, when we had the winner of the one strike, the girl just went crazy.
Wasn't that wonderful?
Unbelievable.
Young lady from Ambridge, Carol Beck, I think her name was. Wasn't that terrific?
Oh, fantastic.
First ball she threw, her legs were shaking so much I didn't think she was going to be able to stand up, and she rolls the strike for the watch. That strike at Rich contest will come late in our program here near the end of the show, so you want to stay tuned for that. Where just an average bowler gets a chance to win 3 days and 2 nights in Atlantic City. We'll tell you more about it. The mix, they all tumble except one.
He
leaves the 8-pin.
He needed that to even up the match, but he's still 10 pins behind if he pulls this spare right here. You can see he went behind the head pin a little bit. He didn't get the driving action on the ball. This time he stayed with the same ball, Sam. He didn't switch to the other ball.
I noticed. Michael Belajac shooting for the spare. And he gets it there, so he's down by 10 pins. We'll return for more of Pittsburgh's Bowling Best in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to Pittsburgh's Bowling Best. Our coverage of Match 2 resumes with Michael Belajac of Bridgeville bowling in the 8th frame. Belajac needs to close some ground now on his opponent, Mark Everette. This one is getting very close now. Belajac can make it even closer. So Everette opens for the first time in the game. He is 141 in the 8th, and he is up by the narrowest of margins, 5 pins. 5 pins. Belajac. Oh! Nobody wants it. 6, 7, 10. Little smirk creeping across the lips of Michael Belajac.
Right now, he has to take the shot. Any other part of the game, you go for the 2 pins. Right now, he's got to make a shot. He's got to try to make it.
He tried all right. Made a good effort at it. Again, takes the 8 count. Down 17 as we step to the 9th. So Belajac, the door was wide open, and now it's been partially slammed in his face. And he has only himself to blame.
The key is to get out of this game alive. If you can win the game, you start all over from scratch.
In the 9th, something to build on here.
17-pin lead by Mark Everette. This is a very tough square under this pressure. Most he can go right now is 174. All Mark Everette got to do is mark and stay clean, and he's got the game won. Easier said than done.
Tough conversion. Always the danger of doing just that. So Belajac now open in the 8th and the 9th, and Everette would need but 1 mark here in the 9th or 10th to win the match.
That's it. It's hard to believe a bowler of this caliber. You come out there and you just wonder what goes through their minds. I've been in the position many times. I've shot some big games and little games, but it's just amazing.
It's exactly what we talked about at the top of the broadcast, Dan. I mean, it's come back to roost again. We talked about the lights, the crowd, the television cameras, the commercial breaks, all of it. Everette now, big strike. Some of the heat off his shoulders. Throws the strike in the 9th frame, and we're entering the Eaton Park 10th frame now. Any bowler who finishes up the 10th frame with 3 strikes wins a $50 gift certificate at any Eaton Park restaurant. In addition, Eaton Park will also donate another $50 to the United Way charity of the bowler's choice. So Mark, having struck in the foundation frame the 9th now, looking ahead to the 10th, trying to finish with 4 in a row and win himself another $50 gift certificate and a $50 donation. He has all but won the match. It is over. In the 10th, solid 10 pin. And that is obviously a smiling and very happy Linda Everett, whose husband started out in the number 4 position and will challenge for the championship against Bob Sheridan. However, I caution that in 2 of our previous 3 shows, the number 4 seed got to the championship match and lost. Right. Nobody has won from this position. That does not count because it came out of the channel to knock it out.
That's right.
So he finishes at 169. Belajac is a beaten man, but we'll stick with Mike here as long as he can throw strikes in the 10th frame and maybe win the Eaton Park 10th frame. The best he can do is 163. He has lost the match, but maybe he can salvage something. Looking for 3 in a row from Belajac. Nope, not to be. So the winner of this match is Mark Everett over Michael Belajac. We'll be back with our championship game in just a moment. Stay with us. So we're all set for our championship game now in Pittsburgh's Bowling Best. And as you look at the stepladder, you see how Mark Everett disposed of Robert Darnley Jr. 228 to 185, and then fell on hard times, but still survived Mike Belajac 169, 151, and now must go against the leader in the qualifying for this particular day, Robb Sheridan of Beaver Falls. Having graduated Beaver Falls High School, 230 was his qualifying average, and this is what he looks like. Danny?
6 steps. Watch the last 2 sharp, quick steps, like he's loading up a gun. He drops that right shoulder and he fires through, a la like a Marker Roth.
Oh, boy. Almost turns his back to the pins.
Almost.
Yeah, it's amazing how they deliver the ball so accurately, but he has chosen to have Everett go first. So Mark Everett will bowl first here in the championship match, our 4th week of competition on Pittsburgh's Bowling Best. Glad to have you with us, and this is the big game. Winner earns $100, and most importantly, the right to advance. After having such great success on lane 3 in the first game, Mark Everett has struggled with it through game 2, and as you saw there, not the kind of ball he wanted to throw to start game 3.
I think it's a combination of the TV lights drying out the lanes a little bit, and Mark not making a proper adjustment, because he had, like you said, Sam, lane 3 in his back pocket, but now he's lost it completely.
And a good spare. So Everett starts with a mark. And now our first look at Robb Sheridan, 213, his normal league average. His high 3-game series, 784. He has 1 300 game to his credit. And he is, admittedly, a professional bowler. Self-employed, he says. I guess he just moved back into the area from Arizona just before the first of the year.
Watch the last 2 steps. Very quick. Loads up that gun and lets her rip. Think you can throw a ball that hard, Sam?
I can't do anything that hard, Dan.
Oh, our arms would be down the lanes.
My goodness. Very short, very stocky, tremendous amount of strength, and the way he, as you said, loads up, just gets to the line and just puts all the power he can, a la Mark Roth. Oddly enough, Roth is not one of his favorite bowlers. Isn't that curious? He certainly has copied his style, though. And he's got the spare. So both bowlers begin with a spare here in the first frame. And keep in mind as well that winning this match in this game is important, but to go on the flight board and to qualify for one of the final 8 spots, you've got to score high. We have what, 233, 229, and 227 on the board.
Yeah, that's right.
And it is what you score in the championship match, the final match of the day, that really counts.
His favorite bowler is John Burkett. People in the Beaver Falls area know John Burkett as a pitcher, throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and I think this is just picking up right from the slack.
Perfect analogy. Second frame now for Robb Sheridan. Loading up with the lines, got that one there. There it goes, his first strike of the day. You know, an exciting aspect of Pittsburgh's Bowling Best is the Prego Challenge. The folks at Prego Spaghetti Sauce have donated a 1988 automobile filled with jars of Prego spaghetti sauce to any bowler who racks up a 300 game on this competition. So that gives each of our bowlers something really big to shoot for. And obviously, we won't have a 300 in this game, but think about that in weeks to come. viewers and bowlers. If you're qualified for a match down the way, bowl 300 on our show, you get a new automobile. Seven count for Everett, leaving the 3-6-9. What's going wrong with his game, Danny?
Well, he's starting to slow up with the ball. He doesn't have the good speed, and you can watch the ball. He cut that ball a little bit short, and it's coming right up on the nose. He's got to get a better extension. I would suggest that he look further down the lane. His body will automatically pick it up.
Oh. Picks the 3 and the 9 off the 6. 9 count open frame for Everett, who has struggled ever since the first game. I mean, he can't be terribly proud of the 169. He won with it.
Well, even in the first game, he wasn't terribly happy on the 4. He kept going Brooklyn, but he got lucky.
Steps on lane 3 in the 3rd frame. Down by 14 pins early on. Now he's got the ball at lane 3 going Brooklyn side. So Mark's got a lot of work ahead of him there.
I think he's made an adjustment, but he's not getting the ball down the lane far enough. He's cutting the ball short. Key point in the match already. He's got to make his spear, or Robb Sheridan's going to run away with it.
And he does. Reminder about our Kids Day on Sunday, March 6th. This is a benefit for big brothers and sisters of Greater Pittsburgh. There'll be great prizes to earn, including a $5,000 cash prize to be shared by any bowlers who score a 300 game, a 1988 Chevy Cavalier, trips, door prizes throughout the entire day, free food and drinks as well. So we invite you to form your 6-member team and call Big Brothers and Sisters at 621-6100 for sponsor sheets and more information to reserve your lane. The date again, the 6th of March. Sheridan looking for the first strike in this game. Got good pin action and carries them all.
He's found the key. He's getting that ball so far out over the foul line.
He has asked for a re-rack, I do believe.
Watch how far he extends out over the foul line. He almost hit it to the arrows that time. And watch the head pin come out and do its job. He just ripped the 5-7 right out of the rack.
Each bowler is allowed one re-rack per game, and I believe that Robb has exercised his. He has here on lane number 3. And the re-rack, Dan, basically because you don't like the pin alignment. It doesn't look right to you. Is that...
Sometimes it sets it down off spot. Sometimes it's an optical illusion, too.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're just trying to psych your opponent out, making him wait that extra time.
I think he realizes what a big strike this could be.
It can put him in a driver's seat forever.
Go up 34 pins in the 4th frame. Of course, there's a long way to go, but this could be psychologically debilitating to Mr. Everett, who has not been around the pocket since the first game. Sheridan looking for the 3-bagger. And he carries it again. So Robb Sheridan is red hot. And he has thrown down the gauntlet now to Mark Everett, who was not struck in the game and was down by 34 pins as he steps on the approach here in the 4th frame.
He threw that ball 9 to 10 feet over the line.
Trying to answer the call. Got it too high. 4-7-10. Makeable, but not one that you want to have to look at in a pressure situation.
This gives Robb Sheridan a clear run at that flight board. He doesn't have to worry. He can just go out there and have some fun and really go after it. He played about 7 boards, Sam. He's letting up on the ball. He's not keeping a good speed. He's about half the speed that Robb Sheridan is right now.
Back live, he takes a 9 count, so another open for Everett. That is 2 open frames already. And he'll step on what was his favorite lane at one time, hoping to get something started here. 52 in the 4th and open. Tough to come from the number 4 spot. We keep learning that every single week. Here's another classic example. Everett Everette trying to stop the bleeding, and he got a big strike, so he's got something to build on. We'll see if he can do it. He's down 48 pins. We'll have more when we come back. And again, we welcome you back to Pittsburgh's Bowling Best. In our championship match today, Mark Everette is trying to recover from 2 open frames left early in the match. He steps up to bowl now in the 6th frame. Everett's got a double. He's got to have one here. And he does. Mark starting to answer the call. His first double since game 1 when he defeated Robert Darnley Jr. 228 to 185.
That time you can see the follow through was a straight arm swing. He got the ball longer down the lane, and the ball just hits the 6 pin, just come out of the channel and knock the 10 pin out of there.
We are in the 7th frame. Everette working on a double. Well, this could help. He could cut the disadvantage to 37 pins. It's there. Big ball. So Everette now trying to answer Sheridan. And what I like about it, these two are very competitive, but they're giving each other a slap on the hand here as they come back, appreciating the work the other man's doing.
Yeah, a lot of the guys, the old timers, they see that and they say, oh, when you're out there, you're supposed to kick, bite, scratch, and, to do anything to win. But that's not the way it is nowadays. These guys are up there, they're friends. Once they get on the approach, though, it's enemy time.
Mm-hmm. Robb shaking his head about something, Dan. Is he unhappy with the rack again?
I don't think he has a feel with the ball. He's having a tough time. You can see him putting his fingers in and out of the ball. He might be having a little bit of trouble with that.
Working on a spare. He's in the 7th frame. Gets a 6 count. So Sheridan now 145 in the 6th. If he converts, he will maintain a 33-pin advantage, but give Everette all sorts of opportunities now to get back in the game with plenty of time left. Plenty of time, 8, 9, and 10.
You can see him with his fingers. He's trying to dig into the ball a little bit harder.
God, a very good conversion. Watching young Robb Sheridan bowl reminds me that during the first 3 weeks we have seen some bowlers who are of the caliber to appear on the PBA tour. But then you ask the question, they're that good, but why aren't they on tour, Dan?
Well, the money angle, Sam. It costs so much money to go out there on tour. I go out some of the tours and I see guys sleeping in the cars. Big names, I won't name them, but they're sleeping in the cars. They don't have money. It costs about $1,000 a week to go out on tour.
Pretty expensive. And just very few making a good living at it, aren't they?
Right.
In the 8th for Robb Sheridan. And he carries them all. And again, it's that power ball. When you throw the ball that hard, you don't necessarily need the perfect hit in the pocket. Obviously, you don't always need the perfect hit anyway, no matter what kind of ball you throw. But the odds are in his favor.
That's right.
If he can get some mixing action, he can carry them all.
That's right. Mark can cut it down right here. But if he don't strike, the match is over. He's got to continue striking.
If he can strike in his 2 rolls here, he can cut the disadvantage to 13 pins. He's down 33. He can really give us a 10th frame to look forward to. First things first.
Uh-oh.
Gonna get the Brooklyn. Yes!
Oh!
Yes!
Shades of the first game. That was the lane he carried the Brooklyns on. Watch when he comes through. He'll pull the ball across his body. You can see it wasn't a perfect arm swing. His elbow went out to the side. Didn't give him the long extension. He's got the break.
Smiled broadly. Looked up and thanked who's ever up there, huh? 9th frame, 4-bagger for Mark Everette. He once was down 58 pins. He's now down to 23. He can cut it to 13 with a strike here, and he's got it! What a great performance by Mark Everette, who appeared to be out of it back in frame 4. Got that one right there.
That's right. The ball speaks for itself. Watch the reaction. Ah, there he is. I would like to get hit with that right, huh? Oh.
He knows what he's accomplished. So Robb Sheridan now must answer the call. He is in the 9th frame working on a strike. 13 pins is all that he leads by.
Yogi used to say, Yogi Berra, it's not over till it's over. He was down 58 pins, and he's right back in.
I never heard that expression before, Dan.
Come on now, Sam.
I'm pulling your leg, partner. Big ball for Sheridan. Big ball. And again, we enter the Eaton Park 10th frame. Any bowler who finishes up the 10th frame with 3 strikes wins a $50 gift certificate good at any Eaton Park restaurant. And in addition, Eaton Park will also donate another $50 to the United Way charity of the Bowler's Choice. Sheridan, with 6 strikes so far in the game, leads by 23 as he enters the 10th.
I told you at the start of the match I was kidding you about ice water in their veins.
Yeah.
These 2 guys got ice water in their veins. Strike here puts him number 1 on a flight board.
Very competitive championship game. Everett with 2 opens is still alive, thanks to a 5-bagger. But this is Sheridan. Talking to the ball, and he couldn't get the 7 to go.
Sam, we have a possibility of a tie.
Is that right?
Yes, if he spares and gets an 8 count back, that would give him 232. And if Mark Everett goes all the way out, he's also got a 232.
And we have a
2-frame roll-up.
2 or 1 frame?
2-frame. They bowl the 9th and 10th all over again.
Okay. And a good cover.
Now, 9 or 10, Sam. Mark cannot win. That's all he needs, the 9 count. He's got the match won.
8 leaves a possibility of a tie. 7 leaves a possibility of a loss.
But
as again you watch Betsy Sheridan intently checking the scoreboard and anything else that she can look at to get an idea of whether her husband, a premonition as to whether her husband can close out Mark Everett here.
A strike puts him number 1 on the flight board. That's 233.
234. Right. You're right. A lot of things hanging here. He can win everything except the Eaton Park 10th frame. Big ball. Big ball. Got the 9 count and won the game and the match. A big, big 9 count. 233. So he closes out Mark Everett with a fortunate falling of 1 pin in the 10th frame. Mark now with a chance to strike all the way out for 232. As you look at it cave in at the end.
Watch the 5-pin. He crossed over a little bit there, but that he just doesn't get the action.
Oh.
He got lucky there. Now, if he didn't get that, we still could have had that tie.
Here's the Eaton Park 10th frame now for Mark Everett. He'd like to have 3 more. Make it an 8-bagger. Nope, not to be. So that's the end of our match. And our winner is Robb Sheridan defeating Mark Everett from the number 4 seed position. We'll be back with more on Pittsburgh's Bowling Best in just a moment. And welcome back to Pittsburgh's Bowling Best. We certainly hope you enjoyed the activity today. And it's a lot like we talked about, where bowlers have bowled at top form, high scores. Robb Sheridan finishes at 233. But we also saw the bottom of the ladder as well. And, Danny, it's something that we're probably going to see in the entire 19-week series here.
Right, you can't tell. We talked about ice water in the veins. Some of the guys didn't have ice water. But in the last game, Mark Everett, he started slow, come on like gangbusters, fell short, 233 Robb Sheridan. Great bowling.
All you need to do is look at the flight board to know exactly what's happened in today's step-ladder effect.
That's right. Robb Sheridan will be back in the semifinals. I think the 233 should hold up, but we've been fortunate. We've had a big game and a final game each of the first 4 weeks.
Okay, Danny. That's the serious business that we have to take care of today, but we've mentioned all along that you, the average bowler, will have a chance to participate in our Strike It Rich competition. We're going to do that in just a moment, but here's Jim Merkel to tell you more about that.
Thanks, Sam. Our Strike It Rich contestant gets an opportunity to bowl 2 balls, and anyone who bowls 1 strike will win a fine watch. For women, a Hellebros quartz, and for men, a classic Seiko watch. And any bowler who bowls 2 strikes will win our grand prize, a 3-day, 2-night stay at Resorts International Casino Hotel in Atlantic City, which includes deluxe accommodations, tickets to Fizz, Resort's sensational review show, a fun pack full of discounts, free parking, and a dinner at the Pavilion Restaurant.
And we'd like you to meet our Strike It Rich contestant today, Jim Obriger from North for Sales. Almost need a stepladder to get up to you, Jimmy. I understand you sent in a lot of cards, a lot of entries.
Quite a few. I tried. After the first week I got your address, I sent right in. I was lucky enough to be selected.
And I also understand you're a frequent caller to Dan Gluss's talk show. You're a real bowling fan all the way around.
Quite a bit. This ball I'm going to use today, I won on Dan's show several weeks ago.
Is that right?
That's right.
Well, we should tell our viewers, too, you can send in as many entries as you want. Jim Obringer having a chance now to win 3 days and 2 nights in Atlantic City. We're rooting for you. Do your thing, Jimmy. Go right ahead. 1 strike, a Seiko watch, 2 strikes, 3 days and 2 nights at Resorts International in Atlantic City. This is Jim Obringer. Oh, almost. All righty, good try. Get you over here on lane 3 as soon as they return your ball, and we'll get moving. For the Seiko watch. No, good try, Jimmy. Well, here, turn around and say goodbye to everybody. We do have a consolation prize for you. We thank you very much for participating. Better luck next time.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being on the show.
All right, Jimmy. Now for my partner, Dan Gluss. This is Sam Nover. See you next Saturday, everybody. Thank you for watching.